All right, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today we are at Republic Coffee again, and my guest today is
Beth Spencer.
And normally we talk to artists or filmmakers, poets, writers, whatever, but today we're doing something a little bit different because it's an issue that I really feel near and dear to, and I think it's pretty cool. So, Beth, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do.
I work with a few different rescue groups to help animals that are homeless in Memphis and other areas in the Mid-South, but mostly I deal with Memphis Animal Services, which is what a lot of people don't know is it's an extremely high kill shelter. But if you, let's say, you can't afford to feed your dog or cat, or you just don't want it anymore, it gets on your nerves. Those are two of the big reasons people take their animals to Memphis Animal Services. They don't tell you, once you leave your animal there and you sign over your rights, that is it. Like, it's subject to immediate euthanasia. It doesn't have to. They don't have to hold it for any amount of time. Because, if a stray dog, if animal control picks up a stray dog, then they have to give it 72 hours. But if you're leaving your animal there, signing over your rights, nobody's coming to look for that animal. They can kill it at any time. And another thing a lot of people don't know is that they do not sedate the animals before they stick them. It's not called a heart stick. They use something called Fatal Plus, but it's really 15% that get, because the large breed dogs, which is mostly what's getting euthanized, they don't give them enough time. Like, they don't even have enough time for the drugs to take effect, so they just they just give them the shot. And at the last board meeting, someone asked James Rogers, if you were going to be euthanized, wouldn't you prefer to be sedated first? Because your organs shut down. It's not like you just go to sleep and never wake up. It's a really unpleasant process. I don't know. What would you think it would be, like suffocating or something? I don't even know.
So how many animals does the MAS have, like, in any given day?
Oh.
Like, how many animals are going to be in there?
Cats and dogs, usually about 100. Now, they have enough space for 400, I believe, but that's why I go there every week, and there are always empty kennels, and I keep up with what they call the inventory, which is really just dogs and cats. And I work with different rescues. They'll pull them to save their lives and put them in foster homes and network them for adoption. So I'm always, and I go there every week to take photos. And so, when they're killing the animals, like, they shouldn't be killing them if they have empty kennels. It's not a matter of, do they not have enough staff, because if there are 400 dogs and only 5 kennel techs, then obviously that's not enough work. But they do have enough staff, and those staff members at any given time are just going to be sitting there playing on their phones. Like, I'm up there all the time, like, people try to argue with me, and I look them in the eye and I say, how often do you go up there? Because they don't know. It's just ignorance is bliss, and they'll argue with me, and I'll, once I ask them, how often are you up at MAS?
So
it's over.
So this is something that you do kind of on your own. You're not officially affiliated with MAS?
No, I am not. I am a member of Memphis Pets Alive, also not affiliated in any way. Now, if people who are on Facebook, a lot of them are familiar with Friends of Memphis Animal Services. It's got the little hand logo. That is not a good group. They call themselves Friends of Memphis Animal Shelter, but that isn't an animal shelter. It's a high-kill animal control facility. That's why it's called Memphis Animal Services. And they actually, I guess they kid themselves. They think that they're helping the animals. They're really not. Because, they don't use, like, what we do, we want to get as many of every animal that's in the shelter, like, needs to be seen, not just, hey, adopt this dog, but this dog is in the shelter, is it yours, they pick and choose which animals they put on social media, and it's very, very few. And like yesterday there was a cat. A lady took a picture of a cat in a litter box and said some cats just love reclining in their litter boxes. That's bullshit.
Right.
No, if a cat's in its litter box, it's scared, or like, and also, okay, who's gonna adopt that cat if they think it plays around with some shit all the time,
Right.
So she's doing that. That cat is never gonna get adopted. They're supposed to give the cat a box so it can, hide in something other than, some feces, but
that doesn't
they don't.
happen a lot.
Yeah, never. I've had problems with that group. You can't write anything truthful on their Facebook because they'll get you'll get blocked or deleted. They really are friends of Memphis Animal Services. They're not friends to the animals. Anyone who can be there and just condone what they do there is really not helping. They're just enabling the problem.
So what is your relationship like with the Memphis Animal Services? Do they welcome you to come in, or do they try to block you any, or?
No. I am on good terms with everyone. I've never even spoken to James Rogers. I've had some issues. I email them a lot, to ask questions. They're really vague in a lot of the emails. They'll say, I'll ask for a heartworm test. And I've gotten incorrect results a lot. And, I'll ask, what is the status of this dog's, does it have heartworms? And they'll say they'll test it. I'm like, well, the dog is due out, tomorrow. We really need to know, because, I rescues can't pull every dog with heartworms. And so, they'll get irritated with me because, I want them, don't kill the dog before I know,
Right.
I might be able to save it, but they really don't care. And I'll say, what does due out mean? Does that mean you're going to kill it? And they just ignore the question. And it's just really irritating. So I would say, with the people, reception, kennel techs, they're really nice. I get along with them because I work with them, in person. But with supervisors, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
I don't think they like me because I imagine every time an email comes in their inbox with my name on it, they just roll their eyes and are like, oh, go smoke a cigarette.
So what is your process like with this? How do you find out? Do you find out about new animals when they come in?
Mm-hmm.
Or
yeah.
happens?
Well, they don't post every one of them on Pet Harbor. I usually go to the government website, and then there's lost and found pets, and then I just I'll sort of search there, and then there are sometimes gaps, and they are supposed to be in chronological order, but sometimes there are gaps, and that usually indicates it's an owner's surrender. They won't even post those on Pet Harbor. A lot of times they just kill them. There are lots of gaps, and a lot of times I find out there are hundreds of people in Memphis who are in dog rescue and will be there while dogs are being surrendered. That word just really irritates me, but yeah, I find out about a lot of them that way. I actually am also there a good bit, so I see it, and sometimes I'm always there with my camera, so I'll take photos and post them, and try to get dogs saved. It's so hard with the cats because at any time, they can just totally mass euthanasia of all the cats. Now, if you're a cat and you sneeze, you're fucked. You will. It sucks because it is. It's not gonna kill the other cats if they get an upper respiratory infection. But yeah, it's just if a cat hisses, it's screwed. They kill ferals. They don't trap, neuter, release like a lot of no-kill communities.
Right. So with the cats though, if they do get sick or a dog gets sick or whatever, are there any vets on staff to treat them?
Yes. But usually when that happens, they will email all the rescues. Not always, but a lot of times they'll just euthanize them. They don't really have any specific protocol. A lot of times they'll email the rescues. There's one right now that's got like cataracts and just a lot of problems, and it's sort of like an ultimatum. They'll say, we need a disposition on this pet by, and then it'll be usually the next day. It'll be their review date. They don't want to hold them there if they don't think they're going to get adopted. They definitely don't spay or neuter them unless they're adopted, because I understand that, but they do have to treat them for medical issues during that 72-hour hold if it's a stray, which really leads me to this. Like, our taxes are paying for all that medical treatment for them to just kill the animal. When if they could hold the animal, and this wouldn't really cost that much more, food and staff, they don't let them out, really just food basically. They don't have to spend any time with them or anything. They defecate in their kennels. They don't let them out to do it, which is terrible for a dog. They hate that. But anyway, so a couple more days, and then if that cat or dog gets adopted, then you don't have to spend the money on the drugs to euthanize and dispose of the animal's body. You actually get some money back from an adoption fee. So that's really it's costing us more to euthanize this many animals. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Right, that's crazy.
And most of them are sick, have kennel cough, and they also have to vaccinate them.
Right.
So it's a lot of money that Mayor Wharton has. His friend James Rogers, the administrator, is squandering every day. It's sickening. It pisses me off. Like, even if I didn't love animals, like, this would really be an issue for me. Definitely.
How successful do you think that the rescue groups and everyone are at actually getting these animals out?
Well, I think right now they're at about a 50% kill rate. So, and I think probably 30% of the ones that are getting out are transferred to rescues. So, I mean, I think that if with different removal of James Rogers, the administrator, and really just all upper management needs to go, because their priority is not the animals and welfare. It's definitely, I think, just replacing those with people who care for animals and who have a different, they get up and go to work and think about saving animals, not numbers, because James Rogers doesn't care about animals. He doesn't. I don't even think he has any. He's supposedly, good at record keeping or something, but that's been disputed at board meetings. He's falsified. And here's an example. A few weeks ago, there were they had a goal of 100 dogs to be adopted during the adopt-a-thon. And on Thursday, maybe it was Friday. Yeah, started on a Saturday. So on a Friday, James Rogers. No, actually, I'm sorry, it was Thursday, because it was one of their $40 days. He wanted to suspend all adoptions. No one could come and adopt a pet because he wanted to have more animals. This is a direct quote. So we would have more animals on Saturday. But that is, anyone who cared about animals wouldn't want to keep
right.
An animal imprisoned. No, that's, and it is really just, I question how ethical it is,
That sounds like something you would do with TV stock or something.
Yes.
At Target or Walmart.
Yes,
or something.
They don't put their
animals.
TVs on the floor. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not with animals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And it was sponsored by the ASPCA, and I know several people, including myself, who attempted to contact them because that should have disqualified this whole. I didn't want it to, but I want them to. I want the whole place shut down, investigated, and because it's just a killing facility and nothing more.
What about the other facilities around, the Bartlett Animal Shelter and all of that? What makes that? Is that different, or what makes it different?
A really good example is the West Memphis Animal Shelter. What makes it different is as simple as pie. The lady who runs it cares about animals. Like, she does everything she can to work with rescues. She keeps in touch with them, lists all the animals on several different websites. Like, she wants people to come in and see every one of them and like get their faces out there. She wants people to take pictures of them. James Rogers tries to restrict that. He's told us no videos allowed, and we're not trying to take pictures of the terrible conditions. A lot of times I go in there and it's clean, but, that's, neither here nor there. Like, people, it's a public, our taxes pay for it. We're supposed to be allowed to show everybody what's going on in there. That's another issue that I have with the place, and his ruling is like no cameras. When they first opened this facility, there were cameras in the euthanasia room. There were cameras all throughout it, and then they, of course, found instances of abuse, and the cameras were removed. Like that just blows my mind.
Right.
And I asked him about that a lot of times, of course, and he never gives me an answer. And I want it in written form.
Right.
He says, "Come see me. Come tour the shelter." I don't need to tour the shelter. I'm at the shelter frequently. I take photos of the sick and injured dogs every Tuesday.
So you're there once a week?
Mm-hmm, at least.
Yeah.
But I go every Tuesday. That's when Memphis Pets Alive goes and takes photos. But if I'm up there, to pull a cat or a dog, or just to deliver stuff, then I always take my camera and try to get a couple of the dogs that weren't there on Tuesday. Because if a dog comes in on Tuesday, then, if it's getting processed, then we may not get it, and it's probably just not even going to be networked. But a lot of the rescue groups in town go to Memphis Pets Alive to see the photos, since we go up there pretty consistently.
So we were talking about the surrendered animals before. Now, what happens? What's the alternative? Let's say that I get sick and I've got a month to live and I've got 2 dogs and there's no way I can take care of them anymore. Then what's a better alternative than owner surrender?
There are rescue groups in town. I would say there's also Humane Society. They stay full, so it's really hard to get in there. But let's see, yeah, and a lot of the rescues in town, they can find a foster, then they network their dogs in other parts of the country. So they transport. My foster is moving to Philadelphia. I'm not exactly sure which, Hatfield, I think. Anyway, so they will make sure your dog does not go to a bad home. That's you're not really dying, right?
No,
Okay.
I'm just asking.
Yeah. Yeah. And really, the best way to find a rescue, just Google Memphis Animal Rescue. And also, if you go to Humane Society, they could, in a situation like that, they would talk to rescues beyond, because really Humane Society is a big rescue that has an awesome building.
So you foster animals as well, right?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about what's involved in fostering an animal.
A lot of people don't realize this, but it doesn't cost anything. What is involved is really you just give the pet a place to crash, and food, a crate, everything like that is provided. You don't pay the vet bills; it's covered by the rescue. They usually get a special rescue rate, and then a lot of I think it helps. The rescue usually will find the home, but I always like to help find a home, because it's easier if you take them to adoption events, and then you can actually meet people and ask, find out what they're looking for. And I never realized how many different dog personalities there are until I started working with being around dogs that weren't my own. And I've had some fosters that I was oh my God, I could never have you. You're so annoying. Really just one. But, she needed an active family. She didn't want to sit around and watch Frasier all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes dogs are returned to after they've been adopted or something.
Yes.
What happens with that?
Well, when people adopt from a rescue, they usually sign an agreement saying, if they'll never surrender to a shelter. If it doesn't work out, they give it back to the rescue. And so then, the dog will just have to go to a foster home for a little while. It's a shame when that happens because, that's why, we work so hard to find them the right family, so they're not bouncing around.
How psychologically, what's the impact of being bounced around from a foster home to
I think it varies. That's why, with my foster now, I really want to get her in her forever home before the holidays because I have to go out of town. I do not want to put that dog in a facility. They're great vets with great boarding facilities, but I think she deserves to. Her next stop needs to be permanent. She was in a foster home before me. She had puppies, and I understand after having a dog and her puppies for 2 months, you need a break. So I was happy to take my dog, or my foster dog now. Yeah, I don't think it just varies from dog to dog. But one thing that that holds people back a lot of times from fostering is they say they'll keep it and they'll keep the animal or they'll be too sad, but it's not sad when they're gone a lot of times, especially if you get a puppy, because you're like, oh my god, I could sleep through the night again, and also you're not gonna keep it. Sometimes maybe one of my cats is a foster failure, but so what if you do keep it,
Right.
You saved a life. Fostering definitely is the biggest thing you can do to help animals.
Speaking of helping animals, I've seen where you've posted, the need for cat carriers and that kind of stuff. Now, where does that go to, and how can people help?
Well, it's going to my office right now. I've got a bunch of them that I got to take up there. Really, just go to my Amazon wish list. I don't have the URL memorized, but find me on Facebook and friend me. I usually friend every person who adds me back. I'm not gonna post pictures of babies or baby cats and dogs maybe, but and I've gotten quite a few, and it's a really big help.
Now these go to the rescue groups?
Right to MAS. I hate MAS so much, but I love the animals, and so I'm gonna keep helping them as long as probably forever, because let's face it, it's not going to become a no-kill shelter in our lifetimes. The South, it's not even really the South. People just don't spay and neuter their animals. It's not a priority, They don't think that their dog will get loose, or their cat. My cat got out 3 times in one morning the other day.
Right.
I got him immediately. And one got caught under the house. Yeah, everybody go adopt a cat. Yeah, I always used to be so bitter about the South and how, people up north are smart, they have spay neuter laws, and they are, more, conscious of stuff, but, it's really, they have colder winters up north, and so when the strays have babies, they die. It's
Right.
really a lot of that more than it is people in the South are just stupid.
So what happens, what do you would say is the best scenario if you find a stray dog running around, or because this happens to me a lot, and I'll see, and I don't know what to do with it.
They're
because,
hard to catch.
Well, let's say I do get it, and then what do I do? Because I'm scared if I turn it into MAS, it's going to be immediately put down. And sometimes it's hard to get in touch with rescue groups, especially if you're driving to work in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
What best case scenario? What can you do?
Well, if you have a place an enclosed area in a backyard, and you can actually separate. A lot of people can't take their I couldn't bring a stray home right now because I've got 2 big dogs, and a foster dog recovering from surgery. So I do have a backyard though. I could could hold it in your backyard and immediately take pictures and post to really just, nowadays I think the rescue network has grown so much post it to your Facebook. Ask if has anyone found, is this someone's missing dog? Also, if you really just, if you don't even have that, let's say you live in an apartment, take the animal to Memphis, the one on Summer, Animal Emergency Clinic. They can scan it for a microchip. It won't cost you anything. That's what I did with my cat, because I found him and he wasn't microchipped, and I had him for 2 weeks. Then I took him to there was this microchipping event at Hollywood Feed, and I was like, I guess I'll keep him. Because my cat loved him so much. I was like, well, I guess I have a cat for my cat. And then, like, I saw these flyers, like, missing cat, and it was mine.
Oh, no.
But, I mean, it had been 2 weeks, and then I looked up, like, after 10 days, if you feed an animal for 10 days in Tennessee, it's yours. Like, you can claim it. So I was like, well, I have been feeding him, and it's been 2 weeks, so I feel like he'd be happier here. That was the first cat I stole. Actually, yeah.
So what?
Not the last.
So we're coming up on the holidays right now, and you know, sometimes parents get their kids dogs, cats for Christmas or something like that. How do you feel about that?
I think that is awesome, as long as they realize, like, they will be ultimately responsible. You know, like 4-year-olds, they're gonna love, like, playing with a cat. Not so much scooping after, you know, for. So they, you know, I think it's a really good idea as long as, you know, they go into it realistically, you know. I think it's awesome. I mean, a lot of people are really against getting people pets. You know, I mean, you know how pissed off I'd be if somebody gave me an animal for Christmas. I can't have another one. But, like, yeah, I would say, like, if it's for a child, awesome. Like, you're going to make this child so happy, but you're going to have more work, too.
Right. So what's the number one thing that people can do to help?
I think, well, definitely foster, but that's not even, you know, if you work 8 hours a day, like, it's hard to take care of a puppy, you know?
Right.
So not everybody can do that, and I totally understand. Really, I think sharing on Facebook, it's 100% free. If one share a day, like, from every person, would help tremendously, just because, you know, that's just you reach so many people that, you know, like, maybe somebody's sort of on the fence about adopting, and they see a picture and they go meet the perfect dog for them. That's definitely, people don't know how much it helps, but it truly does. I wish more people would share, but, like, I think that maybe people are sort of self-conscious, and they don't want their Facebook friends to know, like, that they care about something or supporting a cause. And I've gotten a lot of, like, complaints, you know, because I used to just use Facebook to get attention. I write stuff for likes, you know, like, that status update got 50 likes. I don't know what changed in me. I quit drinking, so then I started, you know, I didn't have brunch anymore, so I started volunteering instead of going to brunch. And once you see it all the time, like, it really does start to sort of grow as a passion more than you know, just volunteering, I guess.
So what do you think we can do as Memphians, as citizens of this town? What can we do to improve the conditions or improve the process at MAS? Is there anything?
It seems like a total, like, a lost cause to me, because, I mean, we've had protests which have changed some policies. And then there's a petition with, like, 7,000 signatures saying we want James Rogers terminated. And it's not just activists, you know, it's I think talking about it, it's telling people. A lot of people don't know. You know, how often do people go out to Appling City Cove, but they don't even know. Like, I mean, a lot of people don't really have animals. They don't even like animals. So but then, like, if they're aware of, you know, the fact that their taxes are paying this guy $90,000 a year just to kill puppies, that might, you know, light a fire inside of them. You know,
Does he have, like, a term limit, or is he?
No. And another thing that is an issue is that there is an advisory board. They don't get paid, you know, but if the advisory board, all 5 of them, they can disagree with something, like killing animals when they're empty kennels, he can still do it. They can't rule any, they have no say over any decisions that he makes. So that seems a little useless to me. What's the point,
Right.
Hopefully it will change. But I'm afraid Mayor Wharton is going to be elected again and disappoint us again.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you find most? What do you like most about being a foster? And
I like when I'm making. I'm not really making a difference in the world, but I'm making a difference in the world of one or two animals, at a time. Knowing that Lacey is my kitten that Humane Society pulled because she has something wrong with her eye. It's gonna have to be removed, and if I hadn't offered to foster her, then MAS would have put her down because really nobody who's adopting a $40 cat can afford to have enucleation,
Right.
surgery. So just knowing that she would have been dead if I hadn't fostered her is a really good feeling. That's definitely the best. I don't get sad. A lot of people think I have no heart because I can go in there and take pictures of those dogs. It really doesn't bother me, but every now and then one, usually the ones that remind me of my dog, she wouldn't even look at me the first week that I had her. Those, because I know that they don't usually have a chance, but there are a few rescues that really just try to get the ones that are ugly and sick with mange that nobody would ever go in there and adopt. And it's a really good thing.
So if people want to find out more about what you do and how to help and all that, where can they go? What websites can they go to?
I would say memphispetsalive.org. That's got a lot of information. You could sign up to volunteer. We have a lot of fun events like dog washes. If you don't have room for another dog and you can't get another dog, it's fun to go and wash dogs. And I always enjoy it. They're at Hollywood Feed, so it's not you're going to be at somebody's house hunched over a bathtub.
Right.
And let's see, what else? I'm trying to think of. Yeah, anyone can email me at. Let's see, what's the best email? superstarmachine@gmail.com. That's from a Mr. Show episode.
Yeah.
My juvesart@gmail.com was taken, so I thought of my second favorite reference.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for talking to us about all this, and
Yeah,
hopefully lots of puppies and kittens and dogs and cats will get adopted for Christmas and
Oh, I hope so.
find loving homes.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you.
Thank you.